I've been getting a weird hesitation from the 996 after it had been sitting for a little while and it was covered under snow and the elements kind of got to it from it being outside. And it was a misfire. And I got a code, I think it was P0302 on my check engine reader, and that was a misfire in cylinder 2. I've had the car for 3 years, and they recommend you change out the plugs and or coil packs every 4 to 5 years. And I don't know when the last time it was done, so now's a great time to do it before the nice weather hits and we can get out and start driving this thing again. So I did get the coil packs and the spark plugs from FCP Euro. And I also got 2 different tools to make this job easier that I'll put links to in the description below, because that'll help you guys do this job a lot easier. FCP Euro actually sells this as an entire kit, but the one thing that they don't sell is E-TORX ratchet set, which I got this on Amazon. This is a whole set that comes with E6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 18, 20, and 24. We only need E10, but I figured I'd get the whole thing. If you're working on a BMW or a Porsche, it's good to have E-TORX, and those are ratchet wrenches. The other tool that I got, which I got through FCP, is a 16 millimeter spark plug socket. It has a swivel top to it to help you get into some tight places. This will do 2 things. When the spark plug is out, it'll help you pull it out easier, but it'll also help you kind of turn and twist into tight places. It was like 20 bucks. I figured I needed to get it anyway. I do have a 16 millimeter, but not one that will help pull out spark plugs, and I don't want them to get stuck. In addition to the spark plugs, I got Baru Borg-Warner coils. So we'll put those in, and you do have to get underneath the car. You can do this on jack stands. I'm doing it on my quick jacks because quick jacks are amazing. And if you have a 996, it is super easy to get these cars up on quick jacks. I don't even have it up all the way. I'm going to put it up all the way and show you. Boom. What we got to do is remove these heat shields that are over the spark plugs and coils. Get ready to find your 10 millimeters because these are 10 millimeters. I know some guys like to remove these, but what's the weight savings on it? It weighs nothing. You get some heat protection from your exhaust to protect your coil pack. So I don't know. I wouldn't do it. Now we see up here, these are each of the coil packs. The ones in there are harder to get than these, but they're all kind of right there. Should be able to get to. Now, these didn't actually have the reverse Torx. They had Allen keys in them. I did not use this wrench to break them off. I broke them off, and then I'll take them out with the electric ratchet wrench. I just didn't want to risk snapping them off. And the coil should come out relatively easy. And the spark plug is inside of underneath it, and that'll give me some space, and then that will work it that way. So there's the top of the coil. There's like a little clip there, which I was able to pop up with my finger. You probably could use a screwdriver to get it, and then the coil pops out, and there's the originals. And then we'll take the spark plug out next. First 2 out. The trick is, when you're taking them out, is to actually disconnect them first before you fully unbolt it. I'm going to try to remove the shroud out of the way with like a screwdriver. Pull it back. And then there's like a clip up there that we flop back. I have to use 2 screwdrivers to really get to it. Pop it out and then push it up with another screwdriver. So with the coils out, we're going to take out the spark plugs next. And that's why I got this cool swivel tool. So that's definitely going to help us. So these heads are so deep that I even had to use an extension on top of the socket to get them in there. So if I were you, I definitely would invest in this spark plug tool, because you can get the spark plug out and it could get stuck in there. You need like a magnet to get it out. So let's see how this all comes out. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about here, how deep this goes. We're not messing around here. FCP Euro also supplies the genuine Bosch spark plugs. Try to go as OEM as possible. There you have it. The old ones, they don't look bad, so might not have been anything crazy, but this even has like a magnet in it that actually helps. But we'll put it in just like that. Slowly got it back in. All I used was this, at least on the driver's side, this and like a 2-inch swivel extension to get it in, and then just tightened it down. I don't like to over torque my spark plugs. I like to get them tight as tight. Don't go super crazy. Straight up, the socket from FCP Euro, definitely worth the money, because this would have been an absolute nightmare to do without it. Spark plugs would have got stuck in there. I'll try to show you the middle one. So with the back one, I had to put this in separate and then pop it in later. But the middle one and the one closest to the front of the car, you don't need to do that. I'm just able to get it in and then just start turning it. And you can kind of feel it start to set up in there and catch threads. And then if you can't pull it out easily, that means it's starting to hit the threads. And then I'm going to slowly put it on by hand. And then I use Harbor Freight, the skinny ratchet wrench, which comes in both 3/8 and 1/4 inch. Definitely the way to go with this. I'm doing one side at a time, and I'll wait to put the coils on until I have all of them on, just because that's just easiest to get access to everything. So that's the way we're going to do it. With the old coil out, you can see that it looks a little different from the new coil. These are the updated coils. And because of that, the original bolts that go in it don't fit. But FCP includes the kit to use the proper bolts to go in. These are where you need the E10 to get it on. Now, also, they call to just put a little bit of dielectric grease in the cap of this. These will be a little bit harder to get in out, but they seat in pretty easily because they bolt in. They don't pop in. So we're just going to put a little bit of dielectric grease on this, and then we'll start sticking them back in. Here, I'll give you a close-up shot so you can see the difference between the two. Hopefully these hold up a little better. As you can see, this one was cracked. Now the end of this has like a little bit of a, you can bend it a little bit, so I'm going to have to do that by hand just to get them through. Once you got it straight on, you just kind of wiggle itself in and it'll connect. And then you got to put the bolts in, and that kind of bolts really seat it. It doesn't like click in like if you have like my LS plugs. You got to put the bolts in to seat it. I have E-TORX socket, and as you can see, this one here that I'm doing probably don't need, there's enough space for me to get it without using this ratchet wrench that I specifically got for this job. But the one up here, I doubt I'd be able to get my E-TORX socket on there. And all my E-TORX sockets are 3/8, so they're definitely going to be on the bigger side. So definitely a good idea to have this. I'm literally just putting my finger on the ratchet wrench as it goes in. And I did it by hand at first to make sure that it goes. And now I'm just kind of slowly working my way. But yeah, without the ratchet wrench, these E-TORX would be, with you just using an E-TORX socket, which I had, would have been a big pain. So I'm glad that I got this. On this car, I wish it was, well, at least on the driver's side, this is the easiest one to install, or at least show you how to install. Pushing it in. Then we'll tighten it down with the bolts. But yeah, and then don't forget when you put this back on, you hear it click, because if you could literally just pull the boot down and you'll think it's in, and then you're gonna be like, why is the car running like crap? Well, that's because you didn't have the plug in. So make sure they got the plug in all the way, make it click. FCP is good. They give you good quality stuff. These are like grade 8.8. So you also want to make sure you line them up okay. Just by putting them on doesn't mean it lines up. You want to make sure the bolt holes line up. And I like, as a tip for anybody, I always like to put them in by hand first. And once I know I can get a couple threads in that it's safe to use a wrench on, then I'll do it. Because if you strip these, you're not going to have a good day. It's going to be a very bad day. Almost repeating the same exact thing on the passenger side. Toughest part, though, is this one. Getting the boot off and the clip back on. I almost had to like get a screwdriver, and because you can't access it by hand, had to get it in like that and make sure you pop it out and turn it up, and then use a longer screwdriver on this side to kind of push it up. Without that, I wouldn't have been able to get it off. I couldn't get it off or on with my fingers. I had to use screwdrivers for it. And I also got, if you don't have one of these, you should have one, but extra long needle nose with a little bit of an angle, clutch.
was able to get them all on. So we're going to put the shield on, and then we'll take it for a little test drive and see if that fixed it.
Post-removal analysis of the coils. So I only got a misfire according to my code reader on cylinder 2, and I'll show you what cylinder 2s looked like. But this one had a nice crack there, right? That one, I guess, was still firing, but that one was going to probably start to miss soon or not work properly. This one had a hairline crack as well, there and there and there. And then this is the one from cylinder 2, which was probably in the worst shape. Had a nice big fat crack kind of going around the entire thing, and also down there at the bottom. So this was the one that was causing us all the problems. But this is also a good reminder that it is good to replace them all at the same time if you're going to do it. Those 3 seem to be okay, but hey, while you're there. So good news, after taking it out for a spin, it didn't hesitate anymore. I probably drove it for 40 miles that day. It was great. Everything worked out. Hopefully I was able to provide you guys with some extra insight to do this job yourself. It definitely can be done yourself. You just got to make sure you get the right tools, which I put links to both of those tools in the description below, and make sure you can get the car up 2 feet, whether it's on jacks or jack stands or a lift. You got to get underneath it. There's no way to do it without it. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you can't wait until next week's episode, make sure to check out these videos that I already have ready to go.